most of your work. So let's go to today's class. Go ahead, create a new project. And we are going to name it cloning tool.
We're starting a new project? Coach K?
Yes, Ina. Yes, we are starting a new project.
Wait, I thought we were making a snake game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, we have the slithering game already named and ready, but to make a snake game, you need to learn about the clone tool. So this is the mini program for you to learn about clone tool, then we will go to the snake game.
I'm going to share it real quick. All right, I shared it in students' projects.
Just for you to learn the clone tool, but once you learn it, we will be moving ahead to the snake game. So you have the sprite and I want to clone. So I'm going to use instead a ball. Okay. So you can use whatever sprite you want, and I want to use a ball. I want to clone the ball. So I have a ball right on stage, and whenever I click the ball, I want the ball to clone itself. So
What does clone mean?
Cloning means making multiple ones which look exactly the same. Like for instance, if I were to clone Coach K, so there'll be another person having the same features just like me. So it's a
So I could use that for the crab game. We could also use that for the fruit ninja. Probably some people did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is
think
the clone tool comes very handy in gaming because you have to create like a lot of different features which we have to just recreate in another sprite. So in that case, it will be very helpful. So what I'm going to do is whenever I click on this ball, I want to create a clone of the ball. So let's see. Come on, help me with the coding, please. So whenever I click on this sprite, I want to create a clone. So obviously, what is the very first event?
When this sprite clicked.
Yes, as simple as that. So when this
there's another way to do it, but it's more complex.
Mm-hmm. So whenever I'm going to click on this sprite, I want this sprite to clone. So when this sprite is clicked, I'm going to clone. So where do you think the cloning tool would be? In which of these blocks?
It's in the control.
Mm-hmm. Control and good job. So create clone of myself. So it's very simple. I want you to test the code. So when I click on
attention, I'm doing the same thing that they're doing.
Mm-hmm. It is actually creating a clone, but we are not able to see because it's on top of its.
You can drag it out. You can drag them out.
Yeah, right. So we are going to drag it out to see whenever you click, you're going to drag it out to make sure that it is creating a clone. So when I click, there is a clone and I'm able to move it. So instead of me manually dragging it, whenever I click on it, I wanted to create a clone, but in a different position. So what is the coding for it? Come on, what's the coding?
All right. When I start as a clone,
whenever I click on it, it should create a clone of myself, but it should go to a different position. So
when I start as a clone, go to random position.
Mm-hmm. So let's go to random position. And then we want to see a little bit of a difference. See, right now it is creating, every time when I press, it is creating a clone, but it is going to a random position. You see that? So all these are the clones of my first sprite. Now,
I chose puppies for my sprite. There's lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The third step. I want to create a clone of myself, but I want it different size. So how do I do it? Random position. Come on, how do we change this? Somebody else other than Karthik. Come on, how do I change the size?
Oh.
Who's going to answer this? I want to make a sprite in a different position with a different size. Yes? Anyone? Oh, that's simple. You have did so much of game designing. Who's going to answer?
Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
So you want to do the when I start as a clone, and then you want to wait. What did you say to make a random size?
I just want to change the size. You can change
Oh,
the size to a random size, or you can just put it like a definite size.
If you want a random size, then you can do set size, pick, and then go to operators and do pick random, and then just put it in the set size. And yeah, you could put it to whatever you want, 1 to 100. There's a pick random right underneath
Okay.
all the operations.
Operators and then pick random.
1 to 100. And I think the go to random position and set size should be under when I start as a clone, not when the sprite clicked. Oh, or that.
Yes. And if you want, you can change it to next costume and just try what's happening. So this, what we are learning now, it's going to come handy for us for the slithering game. Okay. So I want you to closely watch and then understand what's happening, because we will be using the clone tool to do a lot of mathematical calculation in the slithering game. Is everybody done with this? Give me a thumbs up if you got this far.
Yeah, I mean, I made another way of cloning it, but I did the cloning thing.
From Nina. Yes, Vesha got it. Yes, Artik got it. Still waiting just for Kemen and Michaela.
Coach K?
Yes, Artik.
I just wanted to know where you get the go to random position.
Go to random position. It's in blue color, so it's in motion. So click on motion.
Oh, okay. Yes.
If you put a forever around it, it'll just keep duplicating it over and over again. Right now, my screen just looks like a whole bunch of puppies. I'm going to show you guys. Do you see it?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I know.
Oh,
So I
that
put a
looks
forever loop around it, and now it's like all the puppies are going everywhere.
Oh my god, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
You just see one ball just randomly going, like blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow, Coach K, that looks cool.
Right, right. It looks so festive. That's nice.
And then when you click the stop button, it'll go only to one puppy. But when it does that, it's a really small one for me. And then it just keeps duplicating and duplicating. Wow.
Yes. So that's good. Kemen, I didn't see a thumbs up from you. Did you get it? Yes. Awesome. So everybody, Michaela got it too, right? What did you duplicate, Michaela? I see you being so happy. What are you duplicating?
I use dogs.
You use dogs. The dogs are making you all so happy. Okay, so this is the clone tool which we will be using for the slithering game. I think Slither, last time we made a game name. So you can just go and you can open the game.
What do I do this?
Let's save it.
Hey, if you wanted to delete all these clones, how would you do that? Because I just deleted the sprite and only like half of them disappeared.
Just by deleting this
It's
right
like
now,
again.
disappear.
Wait, is there delete all clones sprite thing?
Delete this. There's a delete this clone. So after something happens, you can delete the clone. Like I made a bullet thing, and
Oh my gosh, what did I do?
Delete. Forever delete this clone. Alright. When I click that, now I'm going to make it different. When I click the sprite, I'm going to...
You're going to delete all clones. Did that work?
The
Forever.
program is called Slithering Snake, right?
Yes.
there is no delete all clones.
Delete.
This is Slithering Snake game to learn about clone tool.
Oh,
I have some coding done. I'll start a new one. You can keep working in the slithering one so that I can work with you. I can do the coding with you. Okay. So ready.
variable name.
Are you ready for the new game or are you still with the clone?
Alright, 1 minute.
All right, I found the snake. Should I delete the apple that I have?
You can have the apple if you want, but if you want to begin from the snake, you can delete it if you want. So we have the sprite, so let's go ahead and delete it. And obviously we need a snake, right? So everybody in the call, you know how a snake game works, right? Do you? Yeah, because once you are a programmer, the first thing is you should understand the problem, because programming is a computer of solving a problem. Okay, you all get it? So we have a problem at hand and we do coding and solve the problem. So to solve the problem, you should understand what the problem is, right? So right now we are going to do coding for snake game. So you all should understand how a snake game works. Only then we'll be able to write coding for it. In a snake game, there is a food in random position on the screen. So food will be in this part and in another place. So food is in different places. The snake, it moves and it tries to eat the food. And when it eats the food, it becomes longer. So that's the coding that we are going to do. So
Sure, demonstration off of Google. There's a snake game that you can play on Google.
Last week you did give a demo of it. Does anybody want to take a look at it before we start coding?
Take a look at what?
Take a look at the snake game before we start coding. Yes, Karthik, go ahead.
Sure.
Share the screen, please.
Okay, let me just get a snake game.
If you don't understand the game, you won't be able to code it. So let's.
Oh, I can't share what you're sharing, Coach K.
Okay, yes, let me stop it. Let's take a look at the game quickly and come back and start designing the game.
So there's a snake, and it has to, if it touches the edge, you lose, and if it touches itself, you lose. Yep, that's it.
So you see the snake getting longer and longer. With every apple that it eats, it's getting longer. So there's two conditions. If the snake hits the edge, then you lose, game is over. If the snake hits itself also, game is over. So let's do one by one. And to begin with, let's do a simple version of the game. Later on, you can make the snake to look really animated and you can get into the details. But this whole purpose of today's class is to learn, understand the coding. So let's just focus on coding today and you can make the snake look scarier or fancier. So let's create a sprite. Okay, I'll share my screen again. We are going to draw our own sprite. So let's go, and instead of picking a sprite from here, we are going to draw our own sprite. If you want, you can use the zoom tool and make it look bigger. We are going to just use a simple box to begin with. So I'm just going to use one simple box and have that as the head of my snake, okay? I don't want any outlines. And maybe it can be, you can pick any color that you want.
Mine would be yes. Okay. Yes, pink away.
You have a pink snake? Is that what I heard?
No,
And make sure your sprite is centered. So how do you do that? Do you know how to have it centered?
Yeah, you have to select the sprite and move it around until the crosshair on the sprite and it matches up with the other thing.
How do you delete the sprite?
Eraser tool right here.
Oh, right.
Okay, this size may be a little too big for our game. So let's just decrease this size a little bit. Okay, so you see this, when I move my sprite, the center of my sprite and this center of the screen should be matching.
Kids all done.
Okay? If you're done, then you can go back to your coding screen. So I have the sprite right here. Do you see that?
Dang, that thing is tiny.
And now we want this game to be controlled using my mouse pointer. So when I press the up arrow, I want this sprite to go up. And if I press the side arrow, then it has to go to the side. So it has to be controlled by my mouse pointer. So before I do that, this is the head of the snake. So it should be pointing in the right direction. So whenever I press the up arrow, if I want the sprite to move up, then what do? Point in direction up. So if I want to point in direction up, so what would that angle be?
0.
You have 4 angles. Remember, we drew a graph and we said this is 0 degree and this is 180. To the right, we have 90.
It's
and
gonna be.
we have negative 90. So that's what we are going to do now. So okay, when flag is clicked, we are going to start coding. Get it. I want the sprite, so let's put the forever because for all the gaming, we want like constant movement. So you have to make this sprite point in different directions. So let's point in when if up arrow is pressed. So I want it to point upwards. So if our arrow's pointer is pressed, I want it to obviously point in 0 because that's like pointing up. So you're going to duplicate this code and you're just going to make it for all the directions. Are you all working with me?
So how did you duplicate that?
I just pulled it out. So one at a time and then right click and duplicate. So it create the same one.
Yet, no, that's, oh wait, not right click. All right.
Okay, so when up arrow is pressed, we are pointing in 0. And same when down arrow is pressed, we have to make the sprite point down, which is 180, just down. So when I press down arrow, the head of the snake is going to move down. And when I press right arrow, we want it to move in the right side. So this is going to be right to 90. And left arrow is pressed, I want it to move in negative 90. Okay, so I want the snake to move by 10 steps at all times. Let's go to motion and move 10 steps. So now the game is not like fully as a snake game, but this is the starting. So I want you to test the code and see what's happening. Okay. Does it move responding to the mouse?
Oh, move 10 steps. That's what you wanted.
You have it, but then once we have the actual snake, this is going to be really, really fast. So I want to control, I should be able to control the speed of the snake, right? So instead of making it as 10 steps, I want it to go speed steps. What do? We need to create a variable speed and then set it as 10 and put it right here. So go ahead and do it. If you have got so far, give me a thumbs up. If all this coding is done, give me a thumbs up so we can go to the speed variable. Okay, Kemen is giving me a thumbs up. Everybody else? Yes, Vesha got it. Okay. Anybody else? Nina and Michaela, if you got this much done, give me a thumbs up. We'll move to the next step.
I accidentally made a backdrop instead of a sprite, so I had to make the sprite again. So I'm trying to catch up on the coding real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
You can just copy and paste the coding. If you coded the backdrop, you could copy and paste the coding.
I think she created a backdrop. We created a sprite, right? So instead of that, she...
Oh.
Okay, so now let's create a variable. In the snake game, speed of the snake is very, very important. So you have to be able to control the speed with which the snake is moving. So we created speed and set speed to maybe 5 and move 10 steps. Instead of moving 10 steps, we are asking the snake to move speed steps. Test your game again and see what happens. So now you have control over how fast or how slow you want the snake to move in your game. If you got so far, give me a thumbs up.
Is this armpit stinks? Stop.
Happen?
Is our snake supposed to be like go all the way across, not like stop when we, or not only go when we tell it to?
You mean the edge of the screen?
No.
The snake keeps moving non-stop. We cannot tell this snake to stop. That's the game. So the snake keeps moving on and on and on, and when it hits something, that's the end of the game.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have no way to say when the snake should stop. Just stops at the end of the game.
Are you still looking for that book of yours? Malcolm, I don't even know where it is. Hey, it's okay. You do. All right.
Got it?
So I just added the speed there because I didn't notice it, and now it's not like moving at all. No, you know where it is.
It's not moving. You have the exact code, Michaela? Do you have the exact code and your sprite is not moving?
Yeah, the exact code.
And
I've set my speed. Oh, I set my variable. 1 minute while I set my speed.
did you set it to 5?
Yeah, so yep, and I just set it to 5.
And do you have move speed steps?
Mm-hmm.
And still it's not moving?
It was working fine until I added the speed steps. Yep, it works fine when I don't put the speed in there.
That's because, do you have like set speed to 5? Do you have it outside the forever loop?
Mm-hmm.
And do you have the move speed steps inside the loop? It should be inside the loop. Otherwise, it'll just, if it's outside.
Yep, I have it right. The move 10 steps is right in the forever loop.
Can you share the project with me so I can take a look at it here?
All right.
Students project.
Let me put them. 1 minute. Ready, just added it.
You did? Okay. Okay, let's see who's going to troubleshoot it. We have all these coders online. We'll see who's going to find the problem with Michaela's code.
Well,
Oh, set. Okay, let's play your game. It's working, right?
Yeah, but when I add the speed in there, it doesn't work.
Oh, if you add the speed, it's not working. So let's check.
Huh? 1 minute while I check this. And I put the speed in there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good.
I didn't press the stop button and then press the.
Oh, got it.
That's why
Okay.
it wasn't.
So now let's go to the. I think you will save it, right? So I'm just leaving. Now, which one is my game? So now let's go to the cloning part of it. So you have it this far. Now what I'm going to do is when the game starts, which is, I am going to create another variable. So this is a very important variable which says like how long your snake should be. So I'm going to call this variable as clone duration. So clone duration. Because when it eats, I want to increase the clone duration because the snake should be longer. When it hits something, I can make the snake go shorter. So this variable determines the length of your snake. So you are going to set the clone duration to First, let's set it as 0.5 and let's see what happens. And then we can keep changing it depending upon the variables in the game. And I want it to happen forever. We are going to clone the sprite. So let's do clone myself. Create clone of myself.
Okay. This is very weird.
We'll be adding more coding to it. But first, I want you to see what's happening. Okay, right now we have something called clone duration, and then we have forever, and it's cloning itself. So right now, this coding explains that 0.5, if the snake is cloning itself for 0.5 amount of time, then this will be the length of the snake. Okay, you see that? So if you do it for 0.5, then this is the length. But we want the snake to be much shorter than this, right? So we are going to make modifications to this. Did you all get so far? Nina, did you catch up?
Almost. I just have to do one more block. Create clone of myself.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I just figured out how to do something crazy.
All right.
Okay.
I caught up.
Okay, so what we are going to do now is when you start creating a clone of yourself. So here it says I'm creating a clone of myself for 0.5 duration. So when I start creating a clone of myself, I am going to wait for 0.5 seconds. And after 0.5 seconds, I'm going to delete the rest of the clone which is in here. So that gives you an illusion as if the snake is moving. So the control that we have right here is when I start creating clone of myself. So when I start as a clone, I am going to wait for clone duration. So this much of time I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to delete the rest of the clone. So that's what we are going to do. So did you all find this when I start as a clone? You are going to wait for clone duration seconds.
Oh yeah, it works.
Yes. So this is the most simplest way of doing this snake game.
Well, but the snake isn't like only one block long first. It's like very big at first.
So we're going to wait for clone duration seconds. After you wait so much, the rest of the clone that we have created, that will be deleted. So delete this clone. So if you see, it waits for 0.5 seconds, but instead of leaving a trail like a long snake, it is deleting the rest of the clone. So that's why you as if only like you see only like a few clones available there. Okay. Yes, Nina, you had a question?
Yes. So when I started for the snake game, it had the video behind it, like the video sensing, and I don't know how to get rid of the video sensing because I think that's why my snake game isn't working. So, do you know how to delete this?
You have this video sensing option on. So this is what you see right now?
Yeah, I have that. And I think that might be part of why the snake is not working.
Let me check if that is the reason why your snake is not working. It still works. It should work. So video sensing is just like a background that we have, and if you do coding for it, it may do something else. But other than that, so video sensing is not the problem. But you want to disable the video sensing option, right? Is that what it is? How to disable the video sensing option? Is that your question, Nina?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how to disable it. Karthik, do you want to try and answer her question? She's asking, how do I disable the video sensing option in her?
So I think you need to go to video sensing first. And, well, I mean, not right there. I mean, you need to click on the video sensing tab.
Okay. Yes.
I'm really not sure, but she can do one flag click, turn video off.
Okay, Akswesh.
I know how to do it.
Yes, Swesha, go ahead.
I mean, there's a way to do turn video off.
You can do it with coding, Nina. We can go to coding and then you can put turn video off. So wait, let me try that. Turn video.
I mean, maybe it's just like, maybe I did part of the programming wrong, but my snake isn't working.
See,
Let me get it back.
See what Karthik said, it did work. So I have, in the coding, I have like turn video off and that turned it off. So that may not be a problem. Can you share your project in the students' studio so we can see and we can troubleshoot it?
I'm pretty sure it already is in there, and when my snake moves, it just runs into the wall.
It runs. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. That's what your snake is supposed to do. It's supposed to run into the wall. We have just done the coding only for cloning tool.
Coach K.
Yes, Vesha.
When you have the video sensing tab, there's a camera by the name where you're on, like what you're on. Do you see the star on the side? And if you're on video sensing, it should show, and if you're not, it would have an X. And if you want to disable it, you have to click on it, and then there's another option. When you click on it, you said done, and then you click the do it again button over there. Then it won't have the video sensing.
Yes, Vesha. When I go back to the create one, I'll definitely see and we'll see if that would work. Nina, is this your project?
It is. See, it just runs into the wall.
We haven't coded for game over yet, Nina. So when it runs into the wall, actually it should be game over. So we haven't gone that far yet. Let's just see what it's supposed to do. Karthik, do you see what is wrong with her code? Why the snake is breaking up like this? Do you see it?
Oh, she said the oh, never mind.
That's not what it's doing on my screen, because you are looking at my project, right? Mine just keeps running into the wall. I do still have the video sensing on, though.
It is supposed to run into the wall, Nina. So that's why you should understand the game. That is like a game over option. So when we code, when it touches the edge, it has to pop up as game over. So the snake is doing what it's supposed to do. So this is what the game is supposed to be. But your code is like, do you see the snake like this breaking up in your, when you do
on
it?
Mine, I still have the video sensing on, and when I click it on my screen, it just goes straight and runs into the wall. Mine doesn't break up and stuff.
Okay, one solution to turn your video sensing off is, as Karthik said, you go to the video sensing. See, if you have it on, then you have to go drag this, turn video, and put it right there, and go here and change it to off. So that's going to turn your video sensing off. That's what Karthik said. And Swesha had a different option. What was it, Swesha? Where did you say there is a X?
Do you see the video sensing by the star?
By the star? Oh yeah, so you're saying like when we actually run it.
When you click on it,
Mm-hmm.
there's another option.
Project page. See project.
Okay, got it. So there, if you turn it off, you think it'll go?
No, you can actually click see project page up there, and it will take you right there.
Mm-hmm. So there, if I disable it, even if I have it in the code, so you say you won't be able to see video sensing.
I think she's right. I'm pretty sure she's right.
Okay, we'll try that for the balloon popping. Okay.
Well, see video sensing, and you need to turn it
Let's
off.
turn it off here. Where is the X, Swesha?
No, do you see the camera button?
Yeah.
By scratmit.edw. If you click on it, yes, that button. If you click on it, there will be another option.
To always block camera access for it?
Yes.
Oh, this is like a parental control. Like if you don't want your kids, like some random app to access your kids, then you can go there and have the setting. So this option is to turn the camera off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay then, yes.
And then there is the circle button by the arrows.
Coach K, I have my whole game working.
And then when you click on it, it will not have the camera on.
This is not exactly for Scratch. This will just like in general. So later on, this is not just for this project. You won't be able to use your camera for any of your Scratch projects at all. So it's that setting. But Nina was asking how to turn off for her particular project. I think like turning off encoding for that particular project should work. Okay. So anyways, thank you, Swesha. Wow, you're all getting really good at it. You're exploring all the options. That is so good. So Nina, do you have it working now?
I turned off my video, but my snake is still running into the wall, like it's supposed to do.
Yes, awesome. So your snake is doing what it's supposed to do. So it's good. It's not doing something which it's not supposed to do. So your snake is good, and your game is good so far. So perfect. You have the snake moving, and we have changed the length of the snake, and all that. Kemen has a doubt. Yes, Kemen.
So my snake does what it's supposed to do, except that it keeps breaking up into chunks.
What did you do to the snake? It's breaking
Maybe
up.
do a refresh or something. Goes out, it stinks like hers.
You said your internet was a little slow too, so that may happen too. It's creating clones after a lag, so that means and if you see the snake in chunks, that may be because your sprite is way too small. Like for instance,
Can you do speech 100? I want to see what fast speed is.
if I edit the sprite into a very small cube, so that it may happen so too. So you have to make your sprite a little bit larger or try changing the size here. Okay, Kemen?
Okay.
Yeah, if you have used the zoom out button so much and if you have a very teeny tiny one, then it may look like pieces of the snake. Okay, so we got till here. Let's create now. We have just 4 more minutes for today's class. So let's quickly create a food, an apple or whatever you want.
Show you the whole code.
So you have this apple and when this is easy code.
Should be down here.
You want to do one flag click forever if touching.
Come on, so if what
If touching sprite 1, then change duration, clone duration by 1 or 0.1.
If touching
Sprite 1.
change clone duration by 1. Is that right?
Point one. And go to random position.
Yes. So the apple has to go to the random position. So let's change the clone duration.
That's in variables.
Okay. Then you want this apple to go to a random position. So where do you put it? Do you put it inside the forever loop or outside?
You put it inside and outside because you want it to go to random position when you start the game, and you want it to go to random position when it touches the apple.
Okay. So the apple goes to the random position.
So
Go to
first,
random position.
you want to put one right there.
So this is the beginning of the game. The very first time when it starts at a random position.
And then you want to put it after the change clone duration.
Okay, so let's test the game.
Maybe you could change the size of the apple a little bit.
Yes. And we don't want the snake to be choked up. Okay. So do you all see your snake getting longer and longer and longer?
But Coach K,
Yes.
maybe when you start the game, you could set the clone duration to 0, so it's like just a cube. And
Just a small dot. No, we can do it, but we want it to be like a little bit. Now it doesn't have any condition. If I run over my snake, I haven't written the code for the game to be over. So I'm able to run over my snake, and I'm able to run over the edges of the game. So that is your homework. You are going to do the game over condition. So one thing is, if the snake catches up on itself, the game is over. Or if the snake runs over the edges, it's over. Okay. The easiest one is, if it touches the edge, game is over. That is the easiest one. I want everybody to do that. If the snake touches the edge of the game, it's over. But running over on the snake itself, that is a little bit difficult. Try it. If you cannot do it, we'll do it together in the next class. See, like for instance, if I just go on this snake itself, you see it getting longer. And then if I just hit my own tail, the game is still continuing. So we don't want that to happen. We want the game to be over. That's a little tricky. See if you can do it. If you can't do it, we'll do it in next class. But for you, if the snake touches the edges of this game, it has to show like game over.
You're already done with your homework.
So share us your screen. Show us.
Well, I mean, I'm not done with the snake touching itself, but I'm done with the snake touching the edge.
Yeah, that is so easy. Everybody will be able to do it. Just try how you can code it for if the snake touches itself, the game is over. That's a little bit tricky. So if you just play around, you'll be able to figure out the coding for it. Okay? Yes. Any other questions you have?
Well, so my snake is still running into the wall.
That is your homework. If it runs into the wall, how do you make it say broadcast game over option? So what's the coding for it? Think about it and get it done. And of course, you can make the snake look a little bit better. You can make the apple size smaller, and you can add like chomping sound. You can add sound effects, change the backdrop and things like that. Okay? Okay. So are you all clear with the clone tool? We will be using a lot of clone tools, and we will be doing like even better games. So you have to get really familiar with it. And since this is a simple homework for this week, if you haven't completed any of the previous homeworks, I want you all to catch up. At least, even if you're not able to do the homework, at least remix somebody else's project. So it will be in your account. If you have all the homeworks done in your account, only then you will get the certificate. Remember, I told you, you will get a certificate at the end of the course. So make sure you catch up on the work. If not, at least remix somebody else's work. And
Coach K, so to remix someone's project, you just click remix, right?
Yes.
And it just keeps the other part for you, and then you just add stuff?
Yes. Like Karthik
Okay.
Fruit Ninja game with a knife. You can get that and you can remix it for video sensing.
Okay.
Pretty simple. And at the same time, you will be able to learn a lot. If you look at the coding of other people, you will be able to learn a lot. And so tomorrow is Father's Day, right?
Yep.
You all have learned so much of coding. It shouldn't take too long for you to design an e-card. Remember, that was the very first thing that we learned, designing an e-card. But now you know animation, you know gaming, you know sound effects, you know all these fancy things. If you can design a really good e-card and ask your dad to play with it tomorrow, that'll be really nice.
So ask my dad to make an e-card?
No. You can make an e-card.
What is that?
E-card is an electronic greetings card. So instead of giving a physical card saying Happy Father's Day, usually children, they do artwork.
Oh, you open it and then it speaks.
Hey, so I think, yeah, so I've been playing the game for a while now, and it started breaking up. So I think that maybe it's breaking up when like the clone duration gets too high.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why Karthik said 0.1, but the clone duration number, it depends so much on the size of your sprite and like depending on what number you have set. So you have to play around with it. It's by trial and error. You have to figure out what number will work for your snake, because it's not a sprite that we drew it, right? So depending upon the size of your sprite, you have to change the clone duration.
Yeah, because I gotten the apple so many times it got to like 12.1, and then it started breaking up.
Yeah, so it depends on your size. So this e-card is not a homework, but just out of fun. If you want, you have learned so much, and this is a good opportunity to demonstrate all that you learned to your parents, and your dad will be so happy to open, play with your creation, right? Go ahead. If you have some time today, you can work on it today and gift it to your dad's tomorrow. You can ask him to click something and he can collect a bunch of goodies. He can collect a tie, he can collect a hot cup of coffee, he can collect a kiss from you, a hug from you, and finally, you can have a picture of you and your dad in the middle. So you can do all kinds of Father's Day card. Okay. So enjoy your weekend. I'll see you all next week. And when I see you next week, this Slither game, try to do as much of updates to this game as possible. Okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.
Look like Swesha, you had some question. You were about to ask some question when I was speaking. What was it?
Can we hide both of the variables?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Some people they like to show it there. Some people they don't want to show it there. Yeah, you can hide it.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions anybody has?
Yes, so you said I could remake someone. Who did you say I could? Oh, right, Cardix. Okay, I just remembered.
Bye, Coach K.
Bye.
Bye. The next class.
Bye.
Bye, Miss Flick.
Bye. Bye, Coach K. See you next Saturday.